Hey all you planty people, my name is Jessica, I'm from Green Fever SA and welcome to my channel. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button if you do enjoy our videos. I am by no means a planty expert or a botanist or anything like that. This video is going to be on my top 3 plants for overwaterers. But I am an overwaterer of note, and I have killed quite a few plants due to this, and I'm not sure why. I mean, sometimes I'll water a plant knowing that I shouldn't be watering the plant, and I still do. So it's something I need to work on within myself. So this doesn't mean that you should be overwatering these plants excessively. It's more about plants that will forgive you if you do overwater them, as well as plants that actually just enjoy water a bit more. Just as a disclaimer, I'm not saying that you should be watering these plants every single day, but this is obviously something that you also want to be really careful about, depending on the soil that you have and the pot that it's in, the room that it's in, what season you're in. These are things that you're just going to be really careful with, as you never want to give your plant root rot. So first I'm going to start off with my very top plant that you can overwater and you will probably be fine. I don't have a very big version of it, and I've only had it for about a month, and it is this very cute baby's tears. As you can see, it's actually dripping water out at the moment, so that's how much it actually enjoys being in water. I'm going to show you. This is super cute. So you can see it's literally pouring out of my hands. So this is called a baby's tear. There's a few other names for it. This one was actually sold as a piece in the home, which I haven't actually heard of it before. But I can't actually, guys, I'm going to put the name down below here because I'm not very good with botanical names. But this plant I have actually bought for my shower, and I keep it actually physically in the shower. It's on one of the shelves because I do want it to sort of start draping and hanging. They do say that you can literally leave this in a little bowl of water as if you were bottom watering it constantly. So I haven't been doing that with this, so I'm not going to say if that's a good way to do it or not, but it has been being watered every single day, just from my shower. I haven't physically watered it myself, but as you can see, I mean, it's drenched. So I don't actually get the pleasure of actually watering this guy because he's in my shower, but I did specifically buy this plant for in my shower, and he's just very cute, and he really is dripping everywhere. And apparently they're a very fast grower, and you can trim them back, you can propagate them easily, and yeah, I've only had him for a month, so I'm not going to speak too much more on that. But he is definitely a good plant if you feel the need to have to water something, every few days. My number 2 or second plant for overwaterers is maybe a little bit more of a genus of plants, and as you can maybe tell by this guy behind me, it is ferns. So a lot of people are a little bit nervous of ferns, and I can understand why. I have definitely killed quite a few ferns in my day. Specifically when I first moved into this house about 2 years ago. I'm not sure why, I think I didn't pay attention to them enough, and I think that's really what most plants need. Not all, but I think with ferns, I think you just need to pay attention to them, and you need to understand their needs. One of their needs is that they do like a lot more water, and specifically this guy. I actually have potted him into a bigger pot, but this is my heartleaf fern. I'm not going to pronounce their real name or the botanical name. I'm going to put that below. And he just guzzles and guzzles and guzzles and guzzles water. I have him in a very bright room that he doesn't get any direct sunlight at all. Literally, I probably have to water him now that I put him in a slightly bigger pot, it's 1 to 2 times a week, whereas before I was watering him literally almost every second day. But he is in a bright room, So you know, the evaporation is obviously a little bit higher. If you had him in maybe a shadier bathroom or that sort of thing, you know, those are things that you need to think about that are going to play into how often you do need to water. So you just gotta take into consideration where the plant is, and for your first week or two to just be really vigilant on your plant's needs and how often you're actually watering it. You know, and a good way to do that is to honestly just check it every day for a few weeks, just to really pick up on how it goes. Then another really important tip is to think about, you know, if factors change. If you have, let's say, like 3 really overcast, cloudy, gloomy days, chances are if you were watering this, say, every 3rd day, but now you've had 3 days of really overcast, cold, gloomy weather where the sun hasn't really been coming in, he's not going to need to be watered as frequently. The same goes that if you've had, you know, a week of really scorching sun, and you were watering this every 3 days, you might need to water it every 2nd day then. The minute he dries out a little bit too much, the new baby fronds literally just like go completely limp and start to brown off. I think I have one I can show you where I hadn't watered him enough. I mean, this is a new baby that I ended up killing because he actually completely just browned off. There are quite a few other ferns that I own. I also have a Boston fern. Do I only have 3 ferns? Never mind, I only have 3 ferns. And then this big guy, my bird's nest fern, I only bottom water him just because of the pure size of him. I am a little bit worried about overwatering him, even though he is a plant that likes a little bit more water. The big thing you got to remember with a bird's nest fern, I'll show you the inside. That little section on the inside there, it is not supposed to hold water, because that's where the new fronds come out of, you know, the new leaves come out of. If that sits in water, it will kill off your new leaves. It will literally just, you know, rot the leaf. So I do bottom water him, and he does chug a lot of water. He also came in a very compact type of soil, and it worries me a little bit by pouring it on top. I'm scared I'm gonna waterlog it a little bit too much. So that is the reason for the bottom watering of him. If you are an overwaterer, starting with a genus like ferns, as much as they're not an easy plant to look after, I think if you pay a little bit more attention to them, and you just learn a little bit about the plant that you do have, you are going to need to water this plant a lot more than, say, your monsteras or your anthuriums and, you know, that sort of stuff. So, and definitely your philodendrons. Your philodendrons like to dry out completely. So as an overwaterer, this is a type of plant that is going to require a little bit more from you in terms of watering. Third plant is also sort of a genus of plant that enjoy water a little bit more than others. And I am going to do the same and say specifically one that I own I find likes more water than others. So Calatheas, and Stromanthes and Tenanthes, I find in my experience they do enjoy a lot more water. The only thing that you need to be careful with these guys is they obviously are a harder plant to look after, maybe for somebody who's a little bit more experienced, and the reason for that is because they do like water, but they don't like soggy, wet feet, and they like higher humidities, that can make the genus a little bit more complicated. So what I'm trying to say for these types of plants is you really do need to know your plants. So I would maybe suggest starting off with one. I will show you. I actually started off with my Trio Star. This I wouldn't suggest maybe for overwaterers, because I do find that he likes to dry out just a smidgen, just a tiny bit before I water him again. Not the best one for overwaterers, but my Claytor Zabrina, this gorgeous guy, definitely enjoys being a little wetter. I do have to water this now, coming up towards spring, so end of winter still, twice a week. The only thing is, another thing is to remember that moist and soggy are two very different things. So what I find works best with these is actually giving them a little bit less water more frequently, so that if you think of a damp towel, a soggy one would be if you squeeze it and water pours out of it, where there's just basically no more space for the towel to hold any more water. That would be soggy, and that's not what you're looking for. That's the complete opposite of what you want. If you think of a face towel that is damp, it would be something that you have maybe wet and you've wrung it out, and if you keep bringing it out further, it no longer drips water. So that's what these sort of guys like. They like wet, but where there's still air, you know, they're not dripping. So moist soil rather than wet or soggy. And this guy, what I do is I just give him a little bit of water. I make sure that I do water on, you know, completely around. So I take a little tiny watering can and I water all the way around, but only a little bit, rather than drenching it so that all of the water comes through, which I do with my monsteras and my philodendrons. So I find out of the Calathea morantis group, I do find that he is the thirstiest plant that I have, and because of that he makes me very happy, and he keeps producing leaves. So those are my top 3 plants that I own for overwaterers. The beautiful baby's tears loves water to the point where that could probably be sitting in water all day every day. The second is more of a genus, which is the fern family, specifically the heartleaf fern. Oh, I forgot ferns. I have a maidenhair fern as well. I'm going to insert some b-roll of that because I don't have her with me. A lot of people say that the maidenhair fern is difficult. In my experience, the maidenhair has actually been such a pleasure. The only problem is it needs lots of water, and you can't miss the watering. The minute you miss the watering, the fronds then curl up and look really sad, and they dry out and they are not happy. It does not like to dry out at all to any degree, but again, just bear in mind the whole damp rag versus soggy, you know, rag. You want a damp rag, you don't want a soggy rag. Then the third plant that I'll suggest is also a genus, which is sort of the Maranta family. I wouldn't go so broad as that. I would basically narrow that down all the way to a Claytor Zabrina. Those are my top 3 plants for overwaterers. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that you found it a little bit helpful. If you do have any questions, or you have other plants that you find are great for overwaterers, then please let us know in the comments. Let's start a conversation going. Because I'm an overwaterer, I would love to try some other plants that enjoy more water from me. If you like this video, then please hit the like button, and if by some chance you haven't subscribed yet but you are still watching, then please give us a subscribe. I am trying to grow my channel and it would really help. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time. Maybe not all day every day, but a large portion of the day.
Sweet.
That's okay.
Oh hey! Hey people! What's happening?
I'm gonna put that in there. It's you,